Hey, this is a video which should introduce to you the new features of Bias Effects by Positive Grid. For all of you who are familiar with JamUp by Positive Grid, the great performance app with that incredibly cool modeling and all the effects they have, you will realize that here with Bias Effects there are some significant changes and enhancements compared to JamUp. So let's have a look. At first glance, you see the familiar line of your devices you can put into this signal chain, but what's meeting the eye instantly, which is new, is this splitter here, and also that you have a dual amp path. This splitter is a very intelligent device. You can either just go to 1 amp. You see, as I switched here, the second path has been disabled, or both, or yeah, just the other path. With this here, you have the chance to either send the full signal to the amplifier or to pre-shape this. And this sounds like this. It's a nice wah-wah. But what it's meant for is that you can enhance certain frequencies to boost the amps in a certain way, like you would do with Treble Booster or something. And then also you can work with some boost levels as well. So yeah, that's about it. The beauty here is that you can add just very conveniently quite a lot of units from the wide range of effects devices which are available now. So I can just use this booster, which is just placed in front of one of the 2 amps in the single path. And so I can add with a plus another device. Let's take a fuzz phase and let's take it, put it here. So really nice. So you can have individual amp settings, if that makes sense, and if somebody needs that, and you can have individual effects devices connected exclusively to the amps. You can also, where's the trash can here, this is new as well, very convenient to get rid of unwanted effects devices. Throw them in the trash can. After the amps, so basically behind the microphone, after the signal is mic'd up, you get to this mixer where you are able to pan the amps left and right, or any other way you would like it, and then you can mix the levels. You can link this whole thing that you know, see here the levels will be taken, adjusted all at once, and then you can add some delay if you happen to have some devices in there which would create a delay here maybe, or that you would like to have just this simple stereo thing where in the old days, in the 80s, you would just add like 15 to 18 milliseconds of delay to one side and you have a nice stereo effect. Let's try how this works here. How far can we go? We only have it on one side. This is weird. Maybe that's a bug. I don't know. So. Aha. One side is dead. What did I do? I did do something wrong. Give me the splitter. There was something wrong in the splitter. Splitter, come on, splitter. Signal 1 and 2. Something. I don't know. This is weird. Okay. We're back. Sorry for this, but this happens. Maybe, I don't know what that was. Let's try it again with the delay. We get Okay, that'll be it. We have 2 amps, we have our effects chains, and some incredibly new devices. I really like this drive here, for example. But of course there are so many more. Here you can see all the new distortion effects which come with the program. Here you see the boosters, the compressors which are available, and one thing you notice here already, this is a rack device, but we're addressing this subject later. So here's the gate. What else do we have? Equalizers as stomp boxes, and again a rack device. Then we have the modulation effects, also another rack device. The delays, stomp, and one more rack device, and some reverbs as stomps and as a rack device. So why these rack devices? Well, after the signal is done, basically the guitar tone is done, and the microphone picked up what's coming out of the cabinet. Usually what you do in the studio is you add some stereo effects to the guitars, and that was okay with Jam Up, quite impressive, but now with Bias Effects, Positive Grid have this taken a whole step further and added some rack devices after the, let's switch that off, after the amp. So here's our pure tone. Very dynamic, by the way. This is the guitar, by the way. So you can see it's a Strat. So what happens here? We go to our rack effect, which is after the amp is mic'd up. And this is really great. We switch it on and have this Roland Space Echo like delay, where we have a lot of access to parameters like echo volume, of course. Then the tone of the echo. Let's take a little bit of bass out. Maybe a little bit duller with various modes. Various parameters, tape age and stuff like this, and how the panning should happen, and yeah, this mode here is my favorite. Sounds like a nice, very nice vintage echo. So next thing in line is this chorus. This is an incredible chorus device. So that's about it. Another great thing is when it comes to post-amps effects, that now here you're able to bring in some inter-app audio plugins, and what I did here was bring in this incredible Fiedler Audio 8480 reverb into the signal chain, which is here, and I just switch it on and look at the parameters. Here's the mix. Listen to this reverb. This is to die for. Huh? Awesome, huh? Do you see here the bias knob? So you can go back in no time and just have an external app added into your bias signal chain. That's pretty amazing. You have also various views. As we introduce the rack effects, you can see now that here you see your amps, you have your pedal board, and then, but just by wish, you see what you have loaded up in terms of post amp rack effects. Very convenient. And so again, then you have, like in GEMUP as well, a live view where you can see all your presets. I just have stored one, and also access to like the drive pedal you see here. If you have your iPad next to you on stage or in the studio rehearsal room, it's easy to simply if you don't happen to have a foot pedal. But this is a no-brainer, because your foot pedal simply can, by holding a parameter, here you see this MIDI learn menu where you can assign controller numbers to use to remote control bias effects, like on and off, switching on and off of effects, or also here to control the tone and stuff like that. Very, very convenient and very, very easy to use. But that's not all. A cool thing is that if you happen to have a decent interface with a decent output, line level output, you now can decide where you want to use your iPad with bias effects. If you want to put it into a combo amp front, then this global menu switches off the tone stack, the power amp, and the cabinet simulation. If you go to the power amp of an amplifier, of course you want to have your tone stack from your internal amp, and just use the power amp and the speaker from your guitar amp, the real guitar amp. Or like if you have a stack, that's basically the same if you run it through a bigger system with the big cabinet stuff. And then of course if you're going to go direct out, you need everything: preamp, tone stack, power amp, and of course the cabinet simulation. But not enough. If you play through a PA system, small PA system, they are all different and they are all tweaked in a different way. So it might be that you have too much low end, or the mids are really, really weird. For this, you just have now this global EQ, which allows you to globally adjust without changing any presets to the speaker system you're playing through. Very convenient. And this resonate button is also one that adds a little bit of thump when you want to have that sort of power amp feel with you on stage. So that basically rounds it up quite nicely, I guess. Getting out of the global settings here, this tuner, of course, very convenient. You can tune. What else is new? You have BPM meter, so you have your metronome to practice to, and we talked about the pedal view, and we talked about the inter-app audio possibilities. Of course, as I see it right now, if you visit an amp, you can bring in bias to design your amps furthermore, or bring, if you have bias, all your amps you did already create, bring into bias effects. And then here in the settings, just the obvious latency, stereo mode, or you can set it to mono if you want to play into a normal guitar amp, for example. And then here are the MIDI settings, and of course you can save and share all your rigs in via the Tone Cloud with everybody else. So here's the button for the Tone Cloud. So I don't know if I'm logged in right now, but you can get loads of rigs, pedal boards from with incredible settings. Have a look here, from people all over the world, to bring in and try out what they can do for your tone. And you can also share your own and help the world to get a better guitar tone. And yeah, take this to the gig, use this at home as much as you can, because it's really, really fun, great tone. Everywhere, anywhere you go, you can play. And yeah, that's I think enough for an overview. Come back when you want to know more, or yeah, write some comments if you want to have some special parts of bias a little bit furthermore explained. So much for now. Keep on playing, and bye bye.